Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining my live. My name is Denise. I'm one of the co-founders of an organization named Freedom Angels, and you can find us at freedom-angels.org. I am incredibly censored and shadow banned on social media. I've been kicked off Facebook, buried on Instagram, so we'll see how long YouTube allows me to stay up. If I do go dark, you can find us at freedom-angels.org, and you can also text the number 209-400-2667 to get updates on what's going on with Freedom Angels. So, as most of you guys know, I am here in the state of California. I'm in the Central Valley, where my partner and I, Tara Thornton, have been fighting back against Gavin Newsom since almost the beginning of these lockdowns. We've really put pressure on his administration as well as public health and our local board of supervisors. If there's one thing Gavin Newsom has said that we agree with, it is localism is deterministic on what your county is going to look like. So although a lot of people think that Gavin Newsom is shutting us down, he is he's not. He is not creating executive orders. He's using public health as public health orders. Public health then utilizes the strong arm of environmental health and the licensing agencies like ABC to harass businesses. So what we really have been pushing, and you can get the information by emailing us, and I'll give you the email address. But what we've been pushing is sanctuary cities. Now, sanctuary cities for businesses. Just think of how sanctuary cities for illegal immigrants work. The city does not enforce harassing anybody. They do not work with ICE. They don't go out of their way to try to deport anybody. So replace that with sanctuary city for businesses, and that's what we're encouraging people to do. So to do this, it's actually quite simple. You can email us at freedomangelsinfo@protonmail.com to get the documents and subject line it Atwater documents. So Atwater, California, a few months back, declared their city a sanctuary city for businesses, to where the city was not going to enforce any of these health orders. They were not going to harass anybody. And the big question was, when the city council heard this resolution, was, what about the care funding? Well, what about the care funding? If you actually go to your county and you look and you request the information on what that CARES money was actually being used for, what you're seeing is misuse of public funds. And, a lot of people are worried businesses aren't going to get this CARES funding. These towns are going to suffer. But that's incorrect. What they're using the CARES funding on is like HEPA filters for offices and new equipment for the city council building, things like that. So businesses aren't even getting any of this money. I think there was like $20,000 spread amongst all of the businesses in the city. That's nothing. So you're really not losing anything as a city. What you're losing is the opportunity to buy items you really don't need to buy, and if it means businesses are going to go under. So we've been working with the mayor of Atwater. His name is Paul Crichton, and we've been having town halls up and down California. And we're really training you, and it's a crash course in training on how to get involved, how to organize, and how to push back against the BOS, the city council, and public health officer. So the main thing I want to put out there is the sanctuary city for businesses. That is an immediate relief, so business owners can still open up their businesses, because what we're seeing, we're not in the middle of a pandemic. We already know that. If it was, we wouldn't have politicians flying to Hawaii. We wouldn't have Gavin Newsom eating at French Laundry. His children wouldn't be back in private school. I mean, none of these things apply to them because, rules for thee, not for me. So if you put pressure, you get 50 people, 100 people, 500 people to put pressure on your city council and your mayor to declare sanctuary city for businesses, they can actually put that hearing on the agenda within 72 hours. So it could be an instant relief until you figure out what your next steps are. Another tool that you can use that we're seeing across the nation are businesses creating PMAs. So PMAs are private membership associations, and it's just like Costco. You have your customer text you, pay $1, come in. You're close to the public. These are things that we talk about at our town halls. So if you are in the state of California and you would like a town hall meeting, we will come to you. We're starting to travel because social media is not our friend, and social media is taking us down at every single point. Then email us, and we're going to start going to Southern California, to the Bay Area, and we're going to train you on how to push back, especially against a public health officer. I would encourage you guys to go on. You can go to like LinkedIn or go to your county and find out how much your public health officer actually makes and what their requirements for that position actually is. A lot of these public health officers are making over $400,000 a year, and they have a nursing degree. So these people are making decisions for your business while they're still getting a paycheck, and they're telling you that your business is non essential. They're counting on the sheriff and the local PD to enforce these orders. So I would encourage you to contact your sheriff's department and ask them what their position is. Also contact your local PD and ask them what their position is. Is this something that you're looking at to arrest, or are you looking at education? And when they say education, that means that they're not going to bother you unless you're committing a crime, and then they want to slap a curfew charge on you, which is not even a law. So that would be something that you can fight. So that is my main thing. I really want you guys to start looking into that. And you can get the documents. So we have documents of Sanctuary City from Atwater. We have the documents of the Board of Supervisors lifting the health order in Placer County. We also have white papers on the Orange County Board of Education wanting to open up schools safely in person without masks and without social distancing. We also have documents on the PCR testing and how the PCR test was never designed to test on to test this virus. So the metric that's being used really is illogical. And when cities and counties are using that CARES funding, they're misusing public funds because that PCR test is unreliable and it is a faulty test. So using this metric for people to participate in society really is illogical. So what we're seeing now is the rollout of the vaccine program, to switch subjects. So now that that's finished, you can, for businesses, demand that your mayor declare a sanctuary city for businesses, and then start organizing, because you still want to do lawsuits. The state's still going to go after you. So you want to put lawsuits. You want to make sure that you're telling these representatives, you're not going to come in and bully me. So that's that. Now, the biggest issue that we're having now is the vaccine program. Think of these masks. So these masks that people are wearing, you can't get into stores. Sometimes you can't go shopping. Ticketmaster is now saying you're going to have to provide proof that you've had this vaccine. So now this program is showing its ugly head. Where this occurred, where the framework for these mandates occurred, was in California in 2015 under SB 277, under the guise of measles outbreaks. We had politicians introducing this bill to mandate vaccines for children. Now, we fought this. It also was SB 276 that took away the privacy rights between patient and doctor. It was nothing to do with vaccines. It was about getting our children's medical records and putting them in the hands of public health. And then during the same legislative session, we had AB 262. AB 262 in California streamlined the public health officer being allowed to make decisions to control an outbreak. Now, outbreaks are 3 or more. What we're seeing, the power that these public health officers are now having, is thanks to AB 262, which, again, another bill we fought, but people labeled us anti-vaxxers. Through SB 277, 276, 262, 714, that's what the media labeled us as. Anti-vaxxers. Anti-vaxxers don't believe in science. Anti-vaxxers don't believe that in Western medicine. This was something, it was a slander, it was gaslighting, and it was changing the narrative on what we were fighting for. What we were fighting for was not, yes, it was a science, because the science is bull. But what we were fighting for was the right to choose. So we want the right to choose. If I see that my child's health declined or they had a reaction to a vaccine, I, as a parent, should be able to make the decision if I want to participate in this program. But even if I didn't see a reaction, if I started reading on these vaccines and reading about what they actually can cause, and I still don't want to opt into this program, there shouldn't be a problem on that. The government is not there to make medical decisions for us. So what we're seeing now is the rollout of the adult mandates. So they got our kids. Nobody fought with us because we were just crazy anti-vaxxers. So they were able to pass these bills. These bills now in the state of California, we have no functional medical exempt or vaccine exemptions left. None. If your child is in public, private school, or daycare, you have no option but to get your child vaccinated or to homeschool or to do a private daycare. So our privacy rights are gone. Our doctors are now criminalized for writing exemptions, and we have no other option but to homeschool. So we're in this position in California to where people are fleeing by the boatloads because we want to have medical choice. That is soon going to go away. What we're seeing in the news and the media, in Hollywood, everywhere we're watching, is the brainwashing to believe that this COVID vaccine is going to be the savior to humanity. I have some stats here that I wrote down so I wouldn't forget. I have my glasses on. So for the COVID trials, 85 participants were included in this trial who had no medical conditions. In order to participate in a trial, you have to have no medical conditions. You have to have the right BMI. You have to have, you can't have high blood pressure, diabetes, none of it. You have to be healthy. So during these trials, 56% of the population that applied to do this was turned away because they had a pre-existing condition. So the rate of adverse reactions were ages 18 to 55, you had a 71% chance of an adverse reaction. 56 to 70, you have a 50% chance of adverse reaction. And 71 plus, you have a 70% chance of an adverse reaction. Now, they didn't say what kind of adverse reaction this was. It can be anything between mild, you have a headache, you're lethargic, you throw up, you're dizzy, or it can be a severe reaction like anaphylactic shock. It could be, it triggers diabetes, it triggers inflammation of the brain. There's so many things that it can trigger. So I didn't get what the adverse reactions were, but I did get the stats. So my question here is, if 56% of the population was rejected during these clinical trials, what on earth makes them think that it's okay to mandate a biologic to the population in order for them to participate in society? Because that's what's going to happen. All of these masks, the travel, the shopping, the schools, everything that you're seeing a requirement to wear a mask, that's going to be the requirement for a vaccine. So even though 56% of the population who did apply in this clinical trial was turned away because they had pre-existing conditions, we're expected as a whole, because Americans are extremely unhealthy, we're expected as a whole to accept this mandate, and it will be a mandate. When during 277, 276, we were told you can homeschool, you have a choice. Well, now they're telling you you have a choice. You cannot participate in society, or you can get the vaccine. And now they're saying, I'll pay you $1,500 to get the vaccine. So they create a problem, right? An economic problem where people are sick, people are dying, people are isolated, people are traumatized. They just want to get back into society. They want to participate. They want to see their family. They want to see their loved one. They want to see their elders who are still locked away in nursing homes. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is if they get this vaccine. So they're desperate, they're broke, and they're traumatized. Of course, people will get this vaccine, even though it's never been tested for long-term studies and it has no liability. Just like every other vaccine on the CDC schedule, you can't sue. So then what do you do? It has no long-term studies. And then what happens a couple years down the line and you come out with a medical condition and you're screwed. So it's coming out. We're starting to see these digital vaccine cards, or they show you the cards. They show you you're going to have to carry a card in your wallet. I can tell you from what we've seen throughout the years of fighting, it is not going to be a card. It is going to be a digital certificate, the same thing Bill Gates talks about. So we are going to have a digital certificate in order to participate. That digital certificate is going to be included with our digital money. So if you don't comply, guess what? You're not going to be able to access your funds. If you don't comply, you won't be able to leave your county. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing checkpoints now, checkpoints in counties, checkpoints in states. Yes, we will absolutely be able to build our own community. However, my fear is because there's a lot of us, but a lot of us aren't connected. So for those who are not prepared and not connected, especially people in communities like mine, I'm in Stockton, so we're pretty bad here. Thankfully, we're able to get a new mayor, but we live in poverty. It's not a city that's going to be able to opt out of these programs, like the vaccine program, or to build their own society. So we need to start talking to people. We need to start going out there on the streets, and that's what Freedom Angels has been doing bi-weekly, and we're going to do it now once a month. We go out and we go in front of the public health office and in front of the public health officer, and we send a letter of demands. We send our white papers that back up, but we also go out in the community. We talk. We have town halls. We have a space to train. And this is something that we've been working on for quite some time on this phone tree. We've created a mom militia. It's a militia of women who are trained in self-defense, who are trained in firearm safety, trained in herbs and Chinese medicine, and how to can and how to grow our own food, because that's where we're going right now. If I'm not getting a vaccine, if I have to, or I'm not getting, I'm not going to get a vaccine to go shopping. So I'm going to learn from other people how to grow food. I'm going to be connected to farmers so I can buy some meat. I mean, yes, we can rebuild, but I'm just scared for those who are not prepared for this. So, and that's what we're going to be involved in now is tracking. That is what Governor Murphy from New Jersey has said, that he wants a tracking program for the vaccine program. And 30 days after the emergency ends, then people can opt out of that, of the enrollment. So how do we know when it's going to end? And people will not know that they can opt out. Just like they didn't know that you can opt out of baby wellness checkups, just how we didn't know that we can opt out of vaccines. I didn't know that it was a choice. I thought, just like everything in that baby book, this is just something that you do because you care about your baby. Every well child visit was a vaccine visit, and it was a cycle that we believed. So for those who don't research, or those who are not in this kind of movement, they're not going to know that you can opt out of the vaccine program. So the ways that you fight back: demand your leaders now start leading, and declare a sanctuary city for businesses, so at least your businesses can stay afloat. Homeschool. Join the Homeschool Legal Defense League. It's like $12 a month, and they help you with legal issues, and they also help you homeschool your children. Build a tribe of people. Join militias. Get trained in firearms. These are all things that we're going to have to start doing. And I'm very proud of the work that Freedom Angels has been doing. We've really been going across the state of California and training nationally on what you can do to fight back in your county. So for those who missed the beginning, I'm going to wrap this up. You can find us at freedom-angels.org. You can also text 209-400-2667. We have our information of our Telegram channel where we organize. We also have a public Zoom strategy call every Monday night at 6 o'clock discussing how we can fight back against a public health officer. That is all included when you sign up on our email campaign. And again, if you text that number, we'll send you all of the links. And if you have Telegram, you'll be able to access our channel. So thank you very much for listening. I'm going to be working on being a little bit more, doing this a little bit more seriously, because I'm more boots on the ground than anything else. I stopped doing a lot of my videos. So I will attempt to do this regularly to keep you up to date on what's going on in California. And if you are in California, resist. You do not need to close your business. You do not need to put a mask on your face. None of these things are laws. None of these things are executive orders. None of these things are acceptable. We are now having to course correct. It's almost a year later, and we have elders who are still in nursing homes alone. We have children who are committing suicide because of isolation, and we have businesses that are being destroyed because Gavin Newsom thinks that he's a king. We have to put our government back in check. So please follow us on freedom-angels.org to get on our email campaign, and we will send you out a message on the next call to action. Thank you guys very much for listening, and I'll see you later.